My name is Frances Allard. 3 weeks after my grandfather died, my mom sent a group message, family meeting, Sunday at 3 p.m. Be on time, no reasons, no greetings, just an order. And, like a fool, I went. The house looked just like I remembered, neat bushes, blue shutters, and a porch swing no one ever used, but inside, something felt different. It wasn't the light or the quiet. It was the way my family sat stiffly in the living room with two strange men in suits waiting. Frances, my mom said with a fake smile she always used at church or school events, the kind that never reached her eyes. Meet our family advisors. She pointed to the two men like they were old friends, but it felt more like a trap. One man stood to shake my hand. I didn't move. I looked at my sister Karen, who stared at her lap like she'd been scolded, and then at my younger brother Mason, whose eyes were red but dry. My stepdad stood by the fireplace, arms crossed, looking like he'd practiced that pose for weeks. Want some coffee? My mom asked. I put my leather folder on my lap and crossed my legs. No, I want to know why I'm here. Because we're family, she said in a sweet, fake voice, and your grandfather would have wanted us to work together. That's when I understood. This wasn't a meeting or a talk. It was a plan to make me give up the one thing they couldn't take while Grandpa was alive, his legacy. But I was ready. My grandfather, Harold Vance, wasn't just the man who raised me. He taught me about order, spreadsheets, and keeping promises, even when no one watched. He started Vance Materials when he was 27, with a rusty old truck and a handshake loan from a neighbor. By the time I was born, his company supplied lumber, insulation, and concrete to many places. Contractors all around knew his name. When I was a kid, while my sister wanted shiny shoes and Mason played with trains, I wanted to visit the warehouse. I loved the smell of pine, the sound of forklifts, and hearing Grandpa's voice in the big steel building. When I was 12, he gave me my first ledger book and said, "Let's see how you do with numbers instead of crayons." I was hooked. My mom, Denise, never understood. She liked nice things and wanted them fast. She once said, "Your grandfather builds warehouses, I build a life." Her life meant 3 maxed-out credit cards, a leased Mercedes, and lots of expensive things, spa trips, cheap handbags, and fancy charity parties. The will was read 2 weeks after the funeral in a room that smelled like old furniture. Mom wore black silk and big sunglasses like she was in a soap opera. Karen quietly cried. Mason looked confused. The lawyer, Mr. Holbrook, spoke clearly as he went through the will: small gifts, a scholarship for Grandpa's old school, a little trust fund for a retired worker. Then, to my granddaughter, Frances Claire Allard, I leave everything I own, my shares in Vance Materials, my investments, my properties, and personal things. The room went quiet. I felt it before anyone spoke. This has to be a joke, my mom said, pushing her sunglasses up. He must be confused. Read it again. I've read it many times, Mrs. Vance, the lawyer said calmly. Your father was very clear. Karen gasped like it was a play. He loved all of us. He wouldn't choose favorites. Mason said nothing. He just rubbed his hands like he didn't know what to do. This can't be real, my mom whispered. But it was real. At that moment, I wasn't just his granddaughter, I was the only person who inherited everything Grandpa Harold built, and I wasn't ready. Later that day, in the parking lot, my mom came up to me. Her voice was calm but sharp. Just sign everything over, she said. I'll split it fairly. Everyone will be taken care of. I didn't answer. I needed to think before I spoke. I need time, I said. She looked at me closely. This isn't just yours, Frances, it's ours. Family money, family legacy. That's not what Grandpa said. Her calm broke for a moment. He was confused. You spent too much time with him. He wasn't well. But he was fine. He had changed the will 6 months before he died, clear and sure. I remembered the day. He sat me down and said, "They will hate this, but I made this for someone who knows how hard it was. That's not your mother." It wasn't praise. It was a heavy duty, and now it was mine. That night, I got a message from Karen. Please don't let this break us. We're still your family. Then my mom, you'll understand when you have kids. Family comes first. Then Mason sent one word at 1:43 a.m. Why? By morning, my voicemail was full. Old friends of my mom calling. Frances, I'm so sad. Your mom always talked about you. This is a shock. Sadness, that word was everywhere. What they didn't get was what Grandpa and I really built, not just a business, but a close bond of respect. I didn't get it by luck. I earned it, one spreadsheet, one late phone call, one warehouse visit at a time. But none of that mattered to my family. 2 days later, Mason came to my apartment, no call beforehand. I saw him on the security camera, hunched over with hands in pockets, like a kid who forgot his homework. When I opened the door, he stayed outside. "I'm not here to fight," he said. "Okay." He looked up, eyes tired but serious. "Mom's losing it. She's calling realtors. Wants to refinance the house before you can freeze anything." I blinked. "I haven't frozen anything." "She doesn't believe that." "Mason, I just wanted to warn you, she's planning something." Then he left. No hug, no handshake, just walked away like he didn't know where he belonged. I closed the door and stood still, not sad, not angry, empty. It was just beginning. That night, Liam, my boyfriend and the only one who hadn't treated me like a wallet, brought takeout and held my hand as I stared blankly at my food. "I want you to meet someone," he said softly. "Her name is Angela Dwyer. She's a probate lawyer, an old friend from law school. She's not here to fight, unless you need to. She's here to protect you." I didn't say anything but nodded. The next morning, I called Angela. We met in a small office above a flower shop. No fancy desks or glass walls, just plants, sunlight, and someone who listened carefully. After I told her everything, she leaned back and said, "You're already facing a planned pressure from your family. It's the usual guilt tricks, but from what you told me and the will, you have strong legal rights." "I don't want to fight them," I said. "I just want it to stop." "Then we get ready," she said. "Keep proof of every message, voicemail, and visit. Don't sign anything they ask." I agreed. It sounded easy, until the next message came. It was a picture of my mom shopping for patio furniture, her way of coping. She wrote, #self-care. That same day, she texted she couldn't pay her utility bill. That's when I started printing everything. Then came the official invite. A text from my mom, "Sunday, 3 p.m, house, let's settle this, bring your papers." No smiley, no kindness, just a timestamp like a warning. Angela didn't like it. "This feels like a trap," she warned. "It is," I said, "but I'm ready." She offered to come with me, but I said no. "I want to face them alone, but wait nearby. One text, and you'll be at my door in a minute." I arrived exactly at 2:59 p.m. The curtains were closed. The porch smelled faintly of her perfume. She'd been outside, probably practicing. She opened the door before I could knock. "Francis," she smiled, hair perfect, teeth bright like a campaign poster, right on time. Inside, the living room looked like a courtroom. Karen sat stiffly on the couch, hands clenched. Mason sat next to her, eyes down. My stepdad stood by the fireplace like a guard. And there were two men in suits in the armchairs, usually for family, legal pads, briefcases, wedding rings, fake smiles. "These are Mr. Hale and Mr. Darnell," my mom said proudly. "They're here to help clear up this misunderstanding." I nodded but didn't offer my hand. I wasn't here to be polite. Only one chair was free, a tall wooden one right in front of everyone. I sat down and put my leather folder on my lap. "Would you like some coffee?" my mom asked again, still trying to keep up a polite front. "I'm fine, let's start." Mr. Hale cleared his throat. "We're here because your family is worried about the stress this is causing. No one wants a long fight, especially since your grandfather wanted the family to stay close." I stayed quiet for a moment. "He wrote a will." My mom jumped in, her voice sweet but firm. "We're not fighting that, dear, but surely you agree it would be better to share everything with us." "The will didn't say that." Mr. Darnell opened his briefcase and slid papers across the table. "This is a voluntary agreement to share the estate. You keep a good 20%, the rest goes back to the family, as everyone expected." "Expected by who?" Karen finally said. "Grandpa was sick, Francis. He wasn't thinking clearly. He thought you'd know what to do." "I do know," I said calmly. "That's why I won't sign." Mason shifted. "Mom says if we don't fix this now, we might lose the house." "Why?" I asked calmly. "Did someone take out a second mortgage again?" My mom's face changed for a moment, then went back. "Francis, don't do this." Mr. Hale spoke quickly. "It would be bad if this went to court. Claims of pressure could ruin the estate's reputation." There it was, a threat dressed up in fancy lawyer talk. I put my hand on my folder. "Before I answer, I want to ask one thing." I looked at Craig. 6 months ago, You told Grandpa's nurse you put a deposit on a house in Naples. Did you use inheritance money you hadn't gotten yet? His mouth opened, then closed. I have a recording, I said, and proof on paper. My mom's smile disappeared. I opened my folder and showed a paper, a printout from Grandpa's ledger with his handwriting. Loan to Denise $30,000. She said it was for Mason's college. Later heard it was for a crisis cruise. Next paper, a dated Instagram photo of her sipping champagne on a ship. Caption, deserved this. #blessed. I looked at the two lawyers. Still want to draw up paperwork today? No one answered. My mom stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. You ungrateful. I didn't flinch. I slid another paper across. May 8th. You told Grandpa Rachel needed emergency dental surgery. He gave you $20,000. I looked at Karen. You were in Scottsdale that weekend. Spa trip, right? I remember the robe with your initials. Karen went pale. Craig cursed quietly. Francis, this is low, digging through a dead man's notes to turn his memory against family. He wasn't confused. I said Grandpa was tired, and he kept records because he knew this would happen. I reached into my folder and pulled out the last thing, a sealed envelope, a little worn, with Grandpa's handwriting on it, addressed to me, Francis, if they wanted it. I didn't open it. I didn't have to. The two men in suits were already shifting nervously in their chairs. Mr. Hale fixed his tie. Miss Allard, we expected this to be a friendly talk. It never would be, and you're not lawyers, just people trying to pressure me. I looked at my mom. You didn't tell them I already hired a Real lawyer, did you? She's waiting in the car. One word from me, and she's at the door. The two advisors stood up quickly. We'll leave now, one said, closing his briefcase. Mrs. Vance, we didn't know you had a lawyer, the other added. My mom's face went hard. This isn't finished, she whispered. No, I said as I stood, it is. I slowly gathered my papers. I'm not signing anything. I won't let you spend money like this. And I won't let you change the past because you don't like what's happening now. You owe us. I owe Grandpa. That's what matters. Then Mason stood up. Everyone froze, even Craig. I didn't know, Mason said softly, about the cruise or the spa, or that you used my name to take money. He looked at Mom. You said Francis was selfish, but you lied. Sit down, Mason, she snapped. No. That one word rang out. Mason looked at me. Can I come with you? I nodded. Let's go. Craig stepped forward, chest out. You little. I held up my phone. This is recorded. He stopped. We left quietly, passing the shocked faces of a family that thought I would give in. Not this time. Angela was already outside when we got to the driveway. You okay? She asked, looking at Mason. He's with me, I said. We're done here. The door slammed so hard behind us the porch light flickered, but for once, I didn't look back. Mason didn't say much on the way home. He sat next to me, looking straight ahead, fingers gripping the seatbelt. When we got to my apartment, he followed me inside without asking. He already knew he could stay. You're on the couch, I said. It folds out. The sheets are clean. He nodded. Thanks. We didn't talk about what happened that night. We just sat quietly. I made tea. He drank it. I checked my emails. He stared at the ceiling. The silence wasn't heavy. It was healing. By morning, I had a plan. I went back to Grandpa's house, the one I now owned but hadn't been inside since the funeral. I unlocked the door. The air smelled old and dusty. I went straight to his study. The smell of old paper, cedar wood, and coffee was still there. His desk looked just like he left it. I opened the middle drawer and found his journal. As I flipped through it, I saw everything, dates, numbers, names, and notes in his neat handwriting. There was a new note I hadn't noticed before, written in the margin near the end. Francis has what Denise never learned, self-control and clear thinking. If she decides to lead, this business might outlive me. If she chooses love, it might last even longer. I sat there for a long time, just breathing. That afternoon, I met Angela for lunch and showed her the journal. She helped me file it as extra proof with the court, making sure no one could use a loophole later. We also made papers for a small college fund for Mason, just enough to pay for school without tying him down. Angela smiled as I signed. This is clean, fair, and kind. When I got home, Mason was on the couch reading one of Grandpa's old work magazines. You know, I said, leaning on the doorframe, Grandpa always wanted to grow the business into green products, like eco-friendly wood and special concrete, but the board was too slow. Mason looked up. I remember. He used to talk about it a lot at dinner. I smiled. How about an internship? Real work. No shortcuts. He blinked. Are you serious? Completely. A slow smile came over his face, relief, hope, maybe pride, then, yeah, I'd like that. We tapped our tea mugs quietly, agreeing. It wasn't the kind of legacy my mom wanted, it was better. A year later, I reopened Vance Materials, not as the quiet granddaughter, but as its new leader. Mason runs our green products while finishing school. He's becoming the man Grandpa hoped for, steady, capable, and focused. Karen sometimes reaches out in small ways. I don't welcome her fully, but I don't shut the door either. My mom has moved away for now, that's okay. Some inheritances come in money, others come in scars, choices, and silence. Grandpa didn't leave me his business because he loved me more, he left it because I was the only one who wouldn't destroy it. In his journal, he wrote, Frances won't always be loved for doing what's right, but she'll sleep at night. He was right, I do. What he gave me wasn't just money or property, it was clear thinking, boundaries, and strength, and in the end, I didn't just carry his legacy, I built my own.